Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Carey Yazeed, and I want to thank you for joining me tonight. So, for those of you who are new, let me go ahead and introduce myself. So, my name is Dr. Carey Yazeed. I'm a former mental health therapist. I owned a private practice for 20 years before I actually moving out of that phase of my life and moving into coaching and consulting. So what I do now is I work with therapists who have a private practice and they are tired of trading time for dollars. So all they're doing is they're seeing clients one on one. They're burning out. This is not what they signed up for. And there has to be a better way for them to reach their financial goals without crashing and burning. So that's where I come in and I take all of my years of experience and I work with people just like you. So thank you for joining me tonight. So tonight I am going to be talking about how to generate income, well, additional revenue in your private practice. So I hope that you are ready. So we're going to go ahead and get started because if anybody knows me, I am a stickler for time. I don't like to waste your time and I know you're not going to waste my time. So we know that one thing for sure when it comes to a private practice is that you are going to be seeing people one on one. So you're going to have your individual sessions. A lot of counselors stop at that point when it comes to generating income. So they will burn out because they are booking so many clients and they're trying to squeeze all these people in 1 week just to hit their revenue goals. And I've also heard a lot of counselors talk about like doing group sessions, and it's just like, well, you can get more people in, you can see more people within that time span. And this is true. But when you're doing individual counseling and you're doing group counseling, those still require you to be there and they still require you to trade time for dollars. And then we also have to factor in that once you finish seeing those individuals, then you have to turn around and you have to do charting. So you have to write up what happened. And then you've got to turn around and you have to do billing. And if you don't have a billing company, that means that you have to do the billing yourself. So again, those are things that take up your time just to get your money. And let's talk about managed care while we're talking about all of this. And so you're seeing people doing individual sessions, you're doing group counseling sessions, and you bill the insurance company. Well, when you get your check from them, it is usually not for the amount that you billed. So you might say that my sessions cost $125 an hour. Well, the insurance company might say, well, that's fine and dandy, but they had to pay you a copay of $25. And then all we're going to pay is $75. So you get $100 for that $125 that you bill. We're only going to send you $75, and hopefully you collected your copay from your client. The other thing is that the insurance company is not going to give you your money immediately. So you're usually waiting at least 2 weeks is a quick turnaround, but usually you're waiting at least a month to 6 weeks before you might get your money from them if there isn't a problem. Because then if you run into a hiccup, who knows when you're going to see your payment. And I don't know about you, but I remember when I was doing therapy, that wasn't a good feeling, not to know when your payments were going to come in, what the insurance company was going to pay you. Sometimes that could be up in the air because they can make changes. And so it just wasn't a good feeling. It's not a nice space to be in. And so I totally understand that. Now, you also can offer consulting services. So that means that you might do consulting with other people who are talking about starting a private practice, or if you have a niche, which I hope that as a therapist that you do work with a specific group of people, you might do consulting like for other agencies. Again, this means that you have to trade time for In order for you to get paid, you've got to show up, you got to be there. That's how that works. So that's how consulting works as well. You also can do assessments. So that means that you could do assessments maybe for like a DA office or for child protection, family services, the school system. So those are like some different ways that you could generate income as well. Again, you still have to show up and be there. You have to write up the assessment. You usually have to type up the assessment, and then you got to turn the assessment in along with the invoice. And then you're still waiting for somebody to cut you a check, and you don't know when you're going to get that check. So that's still kind of up in the air too. Another way that you can provide, generate income in your private practice is that you could do supervision. So if you have a license that allows you to supervise others, then you could charge like a fee to do supervision so that the others can get, the other counselors that are working under you or studying under you, they could get their license in the future. So that is another way that you could generate income. So all of those are ways that you can generate income, but they all require you to be present and to trade time for dollars. So all of those are ways that you can generate income in your private practice. No doubt about it. And most of them are things that most mental health therapists are going to do at some point in their private practice. They're going to offer one of those services, if not all of those services. But that is the fastest way for you to crash and burn, for you to just be like, I'm tired, I'm over this. I'm going back to the 9 to 5. I can't do this anymore because your pay is inconsistent. Again, you're having to show up in all these places. You're having to turn in all this paperwork, and you're having to do extra stuff just to get your money. And so all of that is going to require your time, and it's going to wear you down. So here's another way that you can generate income in your private practice that doesn't require you to trade time for dollars. So that means that you can put this out there, generate income. You could be asleep, you could be on the beach, sitting on your sofa watching Real Housewives of Atlanta. You can still get paid. So what are you talking about, Dr. Carey? Well, I'm glad that you asked. So what we're going to talk about is products. And so a lot of counselors do not have products. All they are offering are services. And that's what I just finished talking about. All of those things that I talked about earlier, those are services. Most counselors do not have products, and products don't require you to be there. Products don't require you to constantly have to show up. All you have to do is create that product and put it on a platform where people can find it and people can buy it. The only thing that's going to be required of you is letting people know where they need to go so that they can find your product that you have. And hopefully it's going to be your website that they're going to find out about your services. So one product that I want to talk to you guys about is, let's do a book, okay? So one of the things that I did when I was in private practice was I actually had a book. And this particular book that I just showed you, Who Does She Think She Is? A Girlfriend's Guide to Surviving a Breakup Before She Has a Breakdown. It was actually a book that talked about like relationships and the trauma that some women go through after being in a really bad relationship. Now, the book did not require me to be there to make sales. People could go to my website, people could go on Amazon, and I would generate income from that product that I had developed. I wrote it one time. I went through the whole process of self-publishing. And then from there, I put it on my website and I allowed it to sell itself. Again, it didn't require me to be there, and it generated income. And the income was daily, with people going and people purchasing a copy of the book. All I had to do was let people know where they could go and get a copy of the book that I had written. So that is one product that you can offer. So another product that you can offer can be, I don't know if you guys can see this, it can be a workbook, okay? And so this was a goal workbook that I had that I would put out at the beginning of every year. And so it was Dream Big, Be Fabulous. And so with this, it was a workbook that you work through what were your goals going to be for the upcoming year? What were the steps that you needed to take to accomplish those goals? Now, with the Dream Big, Be Fabulous workbook, it was actually a downloadable workbook. So again, I put it up as a PDF, had a price tag on it, and people could download it after they paid me for their copy. They downloaded it and they could do whatever they wanted with it. I only had to develop it one time. Now, each year I would change like the cover, but that was it. And so once I developed that product that one time, I didn't have to go back and keep doing it again. It was done, and it continued to generate income. As long as I kept telling people where to go and where they could find a copy of it, people will go, people will purchase it, people will use it. And then sometimes from there, people will contact me to schedule like an appointment for us to work together because of the work that they had did in the workbook. But again, the workbook didn't require me to be present. It sold. All my job was just to let people know where to go and get a copy of the workbook. Now, another thing that you can do, let's say you're like, well, look, Dr. Carey, I don't feel like doing like a whole book, like a whole book, you know. Well, another thing that you can do is you can do a downloadable book. So I had this one. This was another book, 5 Days to Kill a Confidence. And it was actually a book that it was a ebook. And so you could download it. Again, you paid your little price, downloaded it, went through it, and the exercise. So it wasn't a workbook that you could write in, but it was like, it would have questions that you'd have to ask yourself, but it was something for you to do each day. And each day it covered a different topic. And so that was the ebook that people could download. Again, it was on my website. So all I had to do was, again, let people know where they had to go to purchase it. And while they were there, they got to see that. They got to see the Dream Big, Be Fabulous Gold Workbook. They also got to see my print book, Who Does She Think She Is? So they got to see these different products that I offer. Now, other products that you can also offer could be T-shirts. So maybe you have a saying, a motivational saying or a scripture that you want to put on a T-shirt. You could do that. Again, with drop shipping and the different companies that they have out there with drop shipping, you don't have to be present to sell the T-shirt. You can have everything set up on a site like Shopify. And Shopify lets you actually set up like your own website if you want to. And you could have it all linked to like a drop shipping company where everything's done. People order it, the company fulfills the order, and then you get a percentage of the sale. Doesn't require you to be there. Again, your job is to let people know where they need to go to find your T-shirts or where they can find like your mugs. Now, the last product that I want to talk about is a journal. So journals are real popular, especially this time of the year when people are making New Year's resolutions. They're trying to get their life together. But we also know that with women, journals are popular pretty much all year long because you have some people who like to journal. So with journaling, you can go on a site like Alibaba, and you could order journals from China. You can have these journals custom made, or you can just order a set stand, like just a set of journals, and maybe have like your name or your logo put on the front of the journal. and you can sell journals. Again, now this might require a little bit more of your time because you're not going to be doing the drop shipping. So it might be that you have a shipment that you have at your house or at your office and you fulfill that order. But with that, you can also hire like an assistant to come in and fill the order for you. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be there to fill the order, but it is another way to generate income where you're not having to spend like an hour and a half with someone in a session going through all this paperwork, writing up reports just to get your money. So I hope that some of the things that I shared with you today really help you to see the different ways that you can actually generate income in a private practice. It doesn't have to be you just doing individual counseling or you doing group counseling, assessments, consulting, supervision. It doesn't have to be you doing all of these things where you have to trade your time for a dollar. You can do other things like sell a book, create a workbook, create an ebook, t-shirts, a journal. This is where you have to think outside of the box and you have to really also assess those people that you're working with and see what would be some additional tools that they could use to help them in their journey. Now, one thing that I am going to caution, make sure that you check with your licensing board because some licensing boards do have some restrictions on how you present products to your clients. And most of them really don't want you trying to sell to your clients because that's kind of seen as a form of intimidation. But it doesn't mean that you can't sell to the general public, people that you're not working with in your practice. But again, I always say double check with your board. But there are different ways that you can generate income in your practice. It does not have to always be you showing up day in and day out, going through all of these processes and procedures just to get paid. There are ways, like I've mentioned, that you can create these products and put them on a website. And again, your job becomes marketing, letting people know where they need to go to get them. And this helps you to generate additional revenue in your practice. Now, if you like to learn more about what I just shared, I need you to join me at Power Moves. So what is Power Moves? Power Moves is a business mastermind that I have just for counselors that are in private practice or thinking about starting a private practice. I do not go over clinical stuff. I don't talk about mental health stuff. We're talking about business and we're talking about revenue and we're discussing how you can start to generate more revenue in your practice, or if you're starting a practice, how to generate revenue the right way so you don't burn out. And so the tips that I just shared, that is just the tip of the iceberg. Those are just some of the things that we talk about, but there's so many other ways that you can generate income. And those are the things that we talk about at Power Moves. So applications are open. You do have to apply, and I only take 10 people per cohort. The next cohort is April the 18th, and we're going to be meeting in New Orleans, Louisiana. So if you like to learn more and if you like to know how you could work with me, I need you to head on over to thebeautybrainsandbusiness.com. There should be a link down in the description, but that is thebeautybrainsandbusiness.com is the site where I do all of my business stuff. And it's also the name of the podcast that I do weekly, where I share business tips for female entrepreneurs. So again, I hope that the information that I shared tonight has been helpful. I hope that it's something that you can kind of dig into, chew on it for a little bit, and, and allow your imagination to just run free. What are some additional things that you can think of that you can use? What are some products that you can create that can help you to start generating additional income in your private practice? So again, my name is Dr. Carey Yazeed. To learn more about me and how to work with me or to attend my upcoming event, Power Moves, I need you to visit thebeautybrainsandbusiness.com, and there'll be a link down in the show notes. Hope that you all have a great week.